policemen, one on each side, as though she were the most dangerous criminal in Britain. "I'm not the enemy," she wants to shout, but no one will believe her. Heads turned as she marched along the corridors from the superintendent's office, past footmen in battle-dress livery and housemaids appearing from nowhere to gawp. She could guess what they were thinking. We never trusted that girl, and look how right we were. "I am the royal librarian," she reminds herself, straightening her shoulders, "and I have done nothing wrong." Is that true, though? Even now she has no idea. She catches sight of the long walk rolling away through the park, and the memory of the times she has found sanctuary there. Mourning her parents pierces her like a knife. What would they say if they could see her, paraded in all her shame? But they are both gone, and she is alone in a strange country. She has been playing for high stakes and lost the game, and there is no one to speak up for her anymore. Chapter 1. Vienna, March 1938. Sophie and her father listened in silence to the noise outside their apartment. Car horns blaring, people cheering, a bicycle bell trilling over and over like a demented bird, and far in the distance, the alarming beat of drums. The wireless was only playing German military music, so they'd switched it off. Sophie went to the window and stared out for the 100th time at the people milling about below, many clutching swastika flags that matched the banners hanging from balconies and pasted over hoardings. A few days before, the Chancellor had announced his resignation on the radio and let the Nazis take control of the government. He'd asked God to bless Austria at the end of the broadcast, but without much hope. "God save us all," Sophie's mother, Ingrid, had muttered, and her father had had tears in his eyes. And now Adolf Hitler was back in the country of his birth, being driven in triumph at that very moment through the streets he'd once swept. Ingrid had gone to her cake shop, not far from the Ringstrasse, to make sure it wasn't looted. There was a febrile atmosphere in the city that they all knew could soon lead to violence. The schools were closed, and so was the library where Sophie worked. Today, anything could happen, and her little sister Hannah still wasn't home. Sophie reproached herself for letting Hannah out to play at her best friend's house. The Blumenthal's lived several streets away, and Gretel's older brother had recently joined the Hitler Youth Brigade. What if Frau Blumenthal had taken Hannah and Gretel out into the streets to join in the celebrations? She turned away from the window, sighing. "Try not to worry," her father said, looking up from his book. "Hannah's with Gretel, and she's a sensible girl. I'm sure they'll stick together." Yet Sophie couldn't bear to be confined a minute longer in the dark, cramped apartment. "I'll go round to the Blumenthal's," she told him. "I shouldn't have let her visit them today. The least I can do is bring her back." "You'd be better off staying here," Otto replied. "They might have gone out somewhere, and you have no idea where." "That's exactly what I'm afraid of," Sophie said. "We should be together at a time like this. And it's bad enough Muti's not home. I need to find my sister." Her father shifted uneasily in his chair. He didn't want to be left alone, Sophie realized, with a pang of sympathy mixed with irritation and fear. What would happen to the family if Otto were no longer in charge? "Well, if there's any sign of trouble," he warned, "come straight home." Not so long ago, he would have been out looking for his daughter himself. But since losing his job at the National Library the week before, he hadn't left the apartment. Sophie would find him sitting in a chair, staring into space. Her father's only crime was to have Jewish parents, a fact she and her sister had hardly been aware of until